Hello, I'm Richard Vobes, the bald explorer, out on another walk, and this time I'm standing in McIntyre's Field, overlooking Lancing in West Sussex, down by the south coast. And down there, glimmering and shimmering, is the sea, and sitting in the woods, reading up some notes, is Martin Snow in orange. I'm on the search of a missing windmill. In fact, a windmill that might have been moved. We don't know whether it was the same mill that was moved physically or whether the location was moved, but the man who knows all about it, or at least as much as there is to know, is sitting here. Hello, Mark. Oops.
Careful.
Just fell down a hole.
It's slippery this morning.
It is a little slippery.
Good morning.
Good morning. And how are you, sir?
I'm warmer than I was when we went out the other day.
Good. You've got some notes. Come up then.
Right.
No sitting about, no shilly-shallying.
That seat was a bit damp.
It was a bit. We're going in search of a windmill today, aren't we?
Yes.
In the midst of these woods. Not a place you would imagine to find a windmill, Martin.
Well, no. I mean, that's why we may not find it where it was originally.
So what period of time are we looking at for a windmill? Because windmills are pretty ancient structures. They've been around for a long time, grinding up the corn, making bread for all sorts of people, mainly the lord of the manor and the rich millers, but to make people's bread.
Well, we're talking for mills, certainly from Saxon times, if not before. But here we're talking from the 18th century.
Right.
Being here.
Wasn't
in
there
this particular site?
Wasn't there a mill here in the 16th century,
yes,
further
that was,
north?
That was further over.
Right.
And possibly 100 or 200 years before, there was one further behind us.
Oh, right.
But that's not really what we're trying to look for today.
No, but I just wanted to know that there were other mills here, because that's down on the South Downs as we are, this whole area was, like so many areas, was peppered with mills. They weren't an unusual sight.
No.
They are now. When you drive around you go, oh look, it's a windmill, and you get excited. But back in the day, they were as common as, I nearly said as common as muck, but they were everywhere, weren't they? Down in Worthing there were two by the coast. What were they called?
Well, the Navarino. There was a pair of Navarino called Navarino.
Yeah.
There was the Sea Mill one, which was near Brooklands, which is further east.
That originally was near Tevill Gate.
Yes, and that one was our friendly Tevill Gate. It was actually moved because it was on Tevill Common. But they were starting to build around it, and it took the wind out of its sails.
Quite literally.
Yes, where that expression comes from, I imagine.
So this one that we're looking for was 18th century.
It's 18th century, that's
so
right.
So shall we go and hunt around?
Yes.
Where should we be looking?
Well, following the map evidence,
yes.
it would be about
here.
About here.
You might just get the sense that there's a sort of hump here on the landscape.
Yes.
And you saying that that's where the mill would have been situated?
Well, according to the map evidence,
yeah.
But my best interpretation, that's where it would have been.
Is that what they would have put them on, a bit of a raised ground?
Well, quite often,
just to sort of build it up.
An extra.
It may have been a post mill that's a central post that it pivots around,
and then the body of the mill is suspended on that post and swivels around
according to the wind.
Yes.
Yeah, brilliant. So this particular mill, it didn't stay here for very long. Is that similar to the one in Tevill Gate? It was moved because there was not enough wind. Do we know?
As far as we can tell, because even on the tithe map, which was in the 1840s, there was a bank of trees similar to what we've just come out of.
Right.
Very close to it.
Okay, so that may have taken the wind out of the sail.
Well, it may have taken its wind out of the sail. So they moved it a short way to the west.
Slightly higher?
Slightly higher and further, not close to any trees.
Yes, so making most of the wind. Well, you'd be a fool not to do that. Now let's go and have a look and see if we can find the next position of that mill. Now, When you say they moved it, unlike the Tarring, the one at Tevill Gate, which
Yes.
they physically moved, we don't know about this one, do we?
No.
We don't know if they picked it up and carted it along, or whether they just waited and thought, well, look, this is dilapidated, we'll
Build
just rebuild it.
Yes, they might have transferred the equipment, from, the stones and the equipment from inside. Probably reclaimed bits that were reusable.
Yes, of course.
Just depends on how bad the state it was in. And they rebuilt it. We're just coming up to it in a moment.
Right. Oh, how exciting. Meanwhile, I should just point out, we get some terrific views here right across on the edge of the South Downs, which is all now sort of arable farmland, but of course back in the day all of this probably sheep faring
Really
country,
sheep,
wasn't
yes.
it? And you can see Lancing College there. That was started at the end of the 19th century.
End of the 19th century.
That wouldn't have been here when the windmill... Well, I was going to ask you, how long did this windmill that we're looking for last?
Well, it lasted until it was taken down in about 1905.
So they would have seen... So
that you would have seen the,
Yeah.
and in fact there are pictures in existence of the mill in dilapidated condition with the college in the background.
Oh, how fantastic. So we're just going through a little bit more of a smaller Underwood here, which is all much newer.
Yes.
And so where should we be looking now, Martin?
Right, we're just over here on the
Just over
right.
here. Another mound to look at.
Yes.
We'll just move our camera around so we can get a good glimpse.
And it was about on in this clump here. Apparently, not many years ago, there was still some bricks to be found, but that would mean
What, like the footings or something?
possibly the footings or some steps, or to the roundhouse at the bottom. But it's rather too thick to go
It's too thick.
rummaging in there.
In the bushes, you mean?
That's in the bushes, yeah. This was a better site because there's the remains of a quarry just literally to our left. So there was no chance of trees growing up between the windmill and the main source of the wind from the southwest.
So this quarry, that chalk quarry,
Yes.
behind us here,
Yes.
this little dip. I'm just going to take a little run down into the little dip. Here I go into the, and it's quite a vast though shallow quarry, and grabbing more of that chalk. I was talking about chalk very briefly in one of my other videos. That's obviously chalk, very useful. A white powdery substance,
Yes.
as well as the flour that came from the windmill. See what I did there?
Yes.
And so this windmill that we're looking, well, which would now be behind us,
It would be in where that tree is.
where that tree is, completely gone.
Yes.
Little bit of remnants if we were brave enough to go into the cold,
Yes.
but we're into the bushes rather.
Do some
but we're not.
gardening.
So there we are, windmills all over the place. I'm itching to look at a windmill that's in existence, that we
Right.
can go in and see the mechanical workings of. And I have had an offer, and I'm waiting to hear back from Salvington Mill.
Oh, good. Good. Yes.
So I'm just waiting to hear that. So we can take you to one that actually works. And then they said if, the wind is right, they will grind some corn for us.
Ooh, that would be.
So there you are. But in the meantime, you'll have to make do with an invisible mill and perhaps these before and after pictures. But Martin, another great little journey around Sussex. Thank you so much. And join us again the next time we go bald exploring.
That'd be fantastic.
That'd be fantastic. Till
Yes.
then, bye for now.
Bye bye.
I'm going to go and look for some chalk.